Hello everyone, welcome back. This is session 2 of the ASHEN Dawn campaign, a brand new homebrew 5.5e Dungeons & Dragons adventure run by me, the Dungeon Master, Kajol. Last session, in the pale light of an early spring evening, 4 travellers arrived at the Crossroads Rest, a weathered tavern nestled in the moorland hills a week's ride east of High March, the capital city of the country of Valand. Each of them bears their own path and purpose, unknown to the others. A white dragonborn monk, a towering Goliath with quiet strength, a half-drow bard cloaked in secrecy, and a high-elf scribe following a quiet sense of purpose that has led her far from home. The sudden arrival of a wounded rider, covered in streaks of ash and collapsing in front of the floor, in front of the hearth, disrupted the quiet introductions of the evening. He brought with him a sealed letter and grim news of a village called Greythorn, just to the north, at which ash is falling from a clear sky, and people are growing sick, and they needed help. This message was not addressed to our adventurers, but the 4 strangers read the words, and they each found separate cause to answer the call. By morning, a shared resolve had taken hold of them, and under grey skies and distant wind, they stepped out together onto the North Road. Unknown to one another still, but no longer alone. Their story begins here. And now, players, I will ask you to introduce yourselves and your characters one by one. We'll start with Brimian. Go ahead.
Hello there, it's Drimian here. I'm going to be playing Asher of Clan Thres, the Dragonborn monk.
Thank you. Annie?
I is Hannibal, and I shall be playing Lucian, the half-elf drow. Charismatic half-elf drow.
Thank you. Go ahead, Suji.
Hi, I'm Suji. I'm playing Zerafina, who's a high elf Asimar cleric, life domain cleric.
And finally, we have Mr. Theo.
Hello, my name is Theo. I will be playing Skibjorn, a Goliath fighter.
Thank you very much. And so to begin, we have your characters setting out on the road north, which is more of a cart trail really than a full road. And you can see it here on the map. It's this kind of... Let me just get that.
Zoom.
It's this road here, which goes north from the tavern to Greythorn. And as we set off, who is leading the way? What's your marching order? That's what we need to establish first. Annie gone?
Oh.
I'm like, yeah, no, fuck this. I'm on adventure.
I'm going on an adventure. So we need to establish marching order. So basically that is who's up front, where are you kind of as you head down the road. So yeah, up to you.
I think the bard will be somewhere along the back-ish, on the side, just playing a nice tuneful melody on his lute to provide some entertainment for the road ahead.
The Goliath will stay in the back as well. Quite fond of music.
Okay. So the Goliath
you can hear
is in
it
the
now.
back. Yes, the Goliath is in the back with
Every time.
the drow. Are you walking side by side?
Yes.
Okay.
The high elf is probably going to be in front of them then, possibly leading the way, because she's very motivated to go help these people.
Asher will lead, spear in hand.
Okay.
I'll take some initiative. Come on, guys.
No, we're all in the back.
We're all in the back, guys.
Yeah,
It's just-
everyone's
it's
walking in the
circle.
back.
Yeah,
Just
that's right.
Okay, so the Dragonborn leads the way with the High Elf Scribe walking just behind him. And then
Yes.
in the back, side by side, the Half-Drow Bard and the Goliath walk along the road heading north. So, spear in hand, Asher, you leave the Crossroads Rest down the north road. A light wind brushes at your cloaks as the inn's warmth fades into memory behind you. The packed earth path is thinner and more worn than the Queen's Road that you've just left, a cart trail at best. It winds between low hills of brittle grass, rutted in places and broken by knots of stubborn grass. Low stone walls crumble along parts of the route, suggesting that this trail was once more regularly used. You can see the silhouette of the mountains looming in the distance, half concealed by a grey haze. You march for a few hours until you begin to notice a fine grey film coating the grass and dusting the road. It doesn't blow in the breeze, but clings and settles, gathering in places the wind should clear. Asher, since you're in the front, you're the first to notice this. How do you react, if at all?
So this is presumably getting caught in like cracks and crevices of these sort of ruined, dilapidated walls that we're passing, I take it.
Yeah, it's strange because there's nothing currently falling from the sky, but you do sort of notice this very fine, thin film that kind of just coats some parts of the ground, and it does, like you said, it sort of gathers and collects in divots in the road and in the sort of stones that make up these walls to either side.
Okay, I'm going to take a little bit from the top of one of these stones, give it a smell, maybe a bit of a taste, see if I can find out what it is.
Roll perception.
That would be a 10.
Okay. With a 10, you don't get any particular scent from this powder, which you recognize as ash. But you do feel it in your hand, and it feels strangely cold between your fingers.
Are we talking sort of just cool to the touch, or are we talking it feels like snow?
It's not as cold as snow, it's not freezing, but it doesn't feel warm as like the air around it.
This doesn't feel natural.
Seraphina's also gonna grab some of the ash and rub it between her fingers and like look at it. And she's gonna say, "This is probably the ash that Arid was talking about."
Again, Seraphina, it feels cold between your fingers, but it doesn't melt. It just sort of crumbles through your fingers, and when it falls to the floor, it seems to drift very slowly and almost hang in the air as it falls.
This must be the ash coming from the mountain that he spoke of.
So much of it coming this way.
You continue up the trail. Shortly thereafter, the road dips into a shallow vale where the wind dies away. The ash here lies deeper in places, and it becomes more obvious to all of you. It seems almost like an inch or so of snow that has never melted. The colours of the trees around you seem muted. Their bark is dusted white. You begin to notice a few flakes falling from the sky and landing gently on your cloaks and in your hair, light and cold where it touches your skin or scales. Ahead of you, you see an old wagon lying upended in a ditch. At first glance, you don't see a driver or the animal that would have pulled the wagon.
Ski would like to go up to the wagon. You said it was like turned over?
Yeah.
Okay. Would like to flip it back,
Okay.
and see if he notices anything, like maybe a broken wheel or cargo had tipped over, or if there's any passengers, or if the driver may have fallen underneath it or beside it.
As you move closer to the wagon, roll a perception check.
17.
Okay. You see, stepping closer to the wagon, that there is a trail of boot prints leading away from the wagon. Would you still
And-
like to flip the cart over?
Leading away from it, can I tell how many sets of feet? How many sets of boots?
With a 17, you can tell that it's a single person's footsteps.
All right. Does it look like they just left the cart, or did they like run around the cart and then leave?
It just leads directly away.
No, once I noticed the one set of footprints just leading directly away from the cart, I stop going towards it and I go back and I say,
Ooh, looks like someone left in a hurry.
You think they were also attacked by wolves?
Ooh, I don't see no paw prints. I just see set of boot prints. Almost look like they're running away in a hurry.
I wonder what caused the cart to tip over.
Little frightened to tip it back. It just person looked like they were running from something. I could
These boot
could
prints.
tip it. Oh yeah.
Asher's going to look at the boot prints, and he's just going to try and get a sense of which direction they went in after this has been tipped over. Are they going toward back the way that we came from, or are they heading further up the road, or are they going off into the sides? Into the
Roll a
ditches?
perception check as well as you step closer to the cart, the wagon.
Okay. The 23.
Asher, you see etched faintly into the ash, very, very faintly into the ash, near where the wheels are, you see some odd circular patterns, almost like someone turning slowly in place. You also see, just beneath sort of the crack of where the wagon is upturned, that there appear to be spilled crates of supplies that were in the wagon that are sort of currently trapped underneath it. As for the footprints, you can tell that they're typical of like human-sized feet. They're definitely not small enough to be probably a dwarf or a halfling, and probably a bit too heavy to be an elf because elves tend to step very lightly. And they head east off the road into a small copse of trees.
Whoever it was, looks like they scanned the tree line. Points out where it looks like they've sort of turned on the spot. And then they headed over there.
Judging by Asher's statement, Skeep probably thinks it's probably fine to go and take a look at the cart and try to tip it over and take a look at the crates that have spilled out of it.
Okay, roll an athletics check as you try to lift this wagon.
13.
You place your hands underneath the edge of the cart and you try to lift it up. You manage to lift it up about a foot, but it is just a little bit too heavy. You manage to hold it in place about a foot off the ground, one edge. Looks like you're going to need some help.
I can't tip this by myself. Oh, need some help here, friends.
Very
Well then. Gonna sling loot on my back, and I'm also gonna like step in and help.
Okay, you also roll an athletics and we'll add it to Bjorn's roll.
That's a 2.
A 2? Well, you know what? That hits the hard DC check of 15, so the 2 is the small extra amount of strength from the half drow
Nice.
is able to just add enough strength. You know, it's like when you're being spotted and you're like weightlifting. All you need
Yeah.
is a tiny little like couple of fingers under the bar, and then Ski is able to push it the rest of the way up. So with I need you, Theo. I need you to give me an almighty grunt as you lift this.
You're.
And with a
I
great
think
effort,
Luciana's gonna be like, "Oh, this is not that heavy. Ski. This was quite
Or-
easy."
Ooh, you silly tiny ling. Or.
with a great effort, the Goliath heaves the wagon over onto its side, basically, because it was upside down, right? Onto its side, the wheels spin slowly, and the crates and small barrels, kegs, spill from the side and lie there in this thin film of ash on the floor. Some of them are cracked open, and you can see iron tools, dried food, and mining gear. Also, Zerafina, are you standing close by as well now?
Yeah. Close by, but not so much that she'd be in the way while we're trying to move this.
Yep. You see, you spot among these crates of supplies, you see a case that stands out a little differently from the others. It's made of a kind of dark wood and has a sort of swirling pattern in the top of it.
She's probably gonna bend over and take a look at it. Is it big enough to like pick up?
It's
I
quite
mean, or
small.
small enough
It's
to pick up.
about, I mean, it's like about this big. It's maybe size of an A4 sheet of paper and about as tall as, about half as tall, right?
Okay.
You lift it up. It's made of a dark wood, perhaps mahogany, something like that. And it is surprisingly heavy. It has this swirling pattern in the top, but otherwise is unmarked. And it is held closed with a metal latch.
She's gonna look at the symbol on the top. Does she recognize it? Perhaps.
She doesn't recognize it. It's not so much like, it doesn't seem to be a specific symbol, so much of it is just like ornate swirling patterns.
Okay. Well, she's gonna try to open up the latch to see what's inside.
Okay.
Fucking loot them. Come on.
Yeah. Loot.
You open...
While
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go first.
Well, I was
Theo.
just gonna say, while Zerafine is doing this, Ski is stretching his back. He's got his hands behind his back. Oh, that cord was heavy. And then he looks over.
Miss Serafina, what'd you find there?
There's this strange box that's a bit different from the rest.
Ski walks over. He looks at the tiny box, the itty bitty box.
Ooh, looks mighty pretty.
Yeah, there must be something slightly more important inside.
Money, perhaps? Coin?
It could be, but I don't think so.
Okay, so the High Elf is about to open this case. We've got Lucian and Skibion. You are standing nearby. Just before I tell you what happens when Zerafina opens the case, Asher, is there anything you would like to do?
I think that Ash is going to be sifting through the supplies that have fallen out, trying to see whether the food is spoiled, whether the ash has had any effect on it, or whether it's just preserved.
Okay, as you do that, you kind of, I will say now that you notice something maybe a little bit odd. The fact that the ash is just as thick underneath where the wagon was as it is all around. So this patch of ground was not really protected by the upturned wagon. You look through the supplies, you see these iron tools, mining gear, which includes sort of pickaxes, shovels, and there's also crates of dried food that have been cracked open. The food doesn't look spoiled. It doesn't look like it's been here long enough to be spoiled, especially because it is dried. It does have this dusting of ash over it, though. Zerafina, you open the case. The interior of this case is lined with a dark grey metal or stone. I want you to roll a Let's call it a nature check to see if you know what this is.
Ooh.
Check.
Nature check. You don't want to do another religion roll, though, do you? You're gonna have to give us all your notes.
A 13.
Okay.
Yay.
Yeah, you recognize this lining as lead. It's lined with lead,
Oh shit.
which perhaps I could have made you make an Arcana roll, but I think we'll just go off your nature roll, which you know is known to suppress magic.
That and uranium.
More prominently, inside this case, you find the only object inside this case is a shard of dark glass lying in the bottom.
No.
Upon seeing that, she's gonna say, "This must be a magical object because I know this is led to stop the magic from coming out. This may be dark magic."
I think with that, Lucian is gonna like lean over her shoulder and then with his finger just close the lid. He's like, perhaps we should keep these closed for now until we know what that is.
I could detect whether it's evil or good just to confirm.
It's up to you. I'm just gonna stand behind the big guy. I'm just gonna Ski, you just stand here.
Ski is a little confused as he's hearing that an item could be evil or good.
Not much for magics myself, but how is an object good or bad?
It could just have an evil or good spell on it.
Or I see.
He's gonna look.
He's
Lucian's just gonna look
still-
at Ski.
Yeah.
And he's just gonna
Well-
go, bad go boom, Ski.
Oh, well, I know that, but never you mind. It's fine. I don't need to understand. It's okay.
Scratching his forehead like, "Jeez."
Okay, so Zerafina, did you want to cast Detect Evil or Good?
Yeah, give it a shot. So she's probably just gonna crack open the box to be careful and just like what's
You're
basically
lucky-
gonna look.
You're lucky you said that, because I was going to assume that you were casting it while the box was closed and you were going to get nothing.
Yeah, because it gets blocked by lead.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's blocked by the lid.
Okay, can you
Uh,
post your
Evil.
Detect Evil or Good in the chat? I think if you click on it to cast it,
Yeah.
it will show the
Yeah.
details.
Yes.
Then chat will get to see it,
Exactly.
Yeah.
and all the viewers at home.
Okay, Suji, could you read out the description of the spell?
Okay. For duration, you sense the location of any aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within 30 feet of yourself. You also sense whether the hollow spell is active there, and if so, where. And it is blocked by 1 foot of stone, dirt, or wood, 1 inch of metal, or a thin sheet of lead.
Exactly.
Ah,
Yeah.
There you go. The fine print.
So, rules as written, this
Yeah.
specifically is supposed to tell you the location of any of these creatures.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't give you anything from just an object. However, I'm gonna allow it because I think it makes sense and I think it's cool, and I'm glad that you thought of it. So
Okay.
you cast Detect Evil and Good, which costs you 1 spell slot.
Yes.
With this, what do you crack the lid open a tiny little bit, and then so how does you casting Detect Evil and Good look like? Like, you have to say an incantation, any gestures or anything?
I think she would close her eye almost like in a meditative sort, kind of like she's expanding her mind, her senses outwards.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she glows a little bit while she's doing this.
Like her eyes.
Yeah.
Like through her eyelids, very horrifyingly, just glowing through her eyelids.
Yeah.
I think it would be like a little bit of light seeping out between the
Mm.
The eyelids, yeah.
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 Which actually I think what we will do is we'll have anyone who's standing nearby, anyone who's looking at Zerafina, roll perception to see if they actually notice that, because it's quite important detail about Zerafina's character.
Yes, don't mind if I yes. Ah, fuck. That's a 7. I don't notice shit.
I don't think I'd be looking up at this point.
Okay.
You said roll a perception? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Nat 20!
That's a nat 20
Jesus.
from Asher.
You see, guys, I can roll high sometimes.
20 from skiing.
And a non-natural
Ooh, a dirty 20. Yeah.
Okay,
dirty
Lucian,
20.
you don't notice anything. You're momentarily distracted by some...
He blinked.
You blinked. You blinked at the exact moment.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what I miss?
However, Asher
Whoa.
and Ski, you both notice this slight glowing light seeping out from beneath Zerafina's eyelids, which,
Right.
if you've ever seen a cleric cast spells before, this is unusual, especially for
So we
low-level
perceive
clerics.
this, but do we know what it means?
You don't know what it means, Skibjorn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
I might have allowed a roll, but I'm thinking about your origins and
Yeah.
the fact that you just wouldn't have come across this.
Let's say I don't think a farmer would have ever seen something like this.
But regardless, Zerafina, you cast Detect Evil and Good. You do sense evil from this object.
Oh,
Hmm.
shit.
She's just gonna close the box back up and be like, yes, this object is evil.
And just
You probably should leave it in the
just for a
box.
little more detail, because it does say this, you can also detect that it is fiendish in nature.
Oh, fiendish. Okay. Okay.
What is it, Serafina? What do you feel? I don't know how this works. Did you sense anything?
I could sense that this object is evil. It's of fiendish nature.
It's best to. Did it have a lock? The box? Can we close it properly? Does anybody have some rope, a belt, something?
I don't think the box itself has a lock. It just had this latch. She's probably gonna look to see if she has anything.
Fucking close that latch, please.
I'd offer some rope, Miss Serafina, but my rope probably too big for that box.
Yeah, I don't seem to have any rope or anything either.
I think Lucian is just gonna scatter through his backpack. It's gonna be like, oh, there's perfume. No, that's not gonna work. Oil. No. There's mirror. Hey. No, that's not going to work. I don't have anything. It's fine. The latch should be fine. Just do we take this with us? Do we leave it here? What do we do?
I wouldn't want
do
no
work-
innocent traveler to end up with this evil object.
Yeah,
mean,
I
that
wouldn't
is
want
true.
someone else to come across it and not know any better, or even worse, end up in the wrong hands.
But what about innocent us? This thing, we don't know what it does.
Whoever it was left it. They had time to
think-
look around.
You think they left it?
Evidently, it's here.
Well, they also left lots of things.
Yeah, they did leave quite a bit of food, which maybe we can bring some with us. I know it's not enough to feed a whole village, but
Now you're
As long as it's
speaking
not-
my language.
As long as it's not tainted by the ash, I'm fine. But if I do not think we want to consume anything that has ashes on it.
It doesn't
a
look to have spoiled, but it may have been contaminated in other ways.
You see?
Oh, don't
I
you
should put the
fret,
point.
Lucian, sir. A little dirt never hurt nobody's.
Mm. It's fine. Okay. The bigger question is who's going to take the box? Because we can't leave it here, evidently. So
I'll keep it with me. I'll keep a watch over it. She's gonna gently put it in her pack to make sure like it's in there in a way that it's like in the bottom, and so like the latch isn't gonna get lifted up.
back like the
or
rest of your
anything.
stuff on top of the lid.
Yeah, on top of
That's
the
right,
lid.
yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and add one lead-lined box containing a shard of dark glass to your inventory.
Okay.
We carrying uranium around with us, guys. We're gonna get uranium fever.
Yeah.
Gone and got me down. So again, around you, you see these spilled crates of supplies. Asher, did you want to take any of these since you're the one looking at them?
What sort of foodstuffs are there? Is it bread, dried meat? What sort of things are we looking at?
There's some small crates of dried meat, which is kind of wrapped in cloth. There's also some grains and dried seeds in small barrels.
I'll begin dusting off whatever Ash has got on the dried meats. The grains, I'm thinking we don't have a way to sift them at all, but they might have a way to sift it at the village. Are you strong enough to carry a barrel of grain, do you think, big man?
Or of course I am. Give it ears.
Can I carry
I
it,
think
Joel?
also.
You can carry it, yeah. Just add a
Okay,
barrel
just
of
Just making sure.
ashy grain to your inventory.
All right.
I think Lucien is also just gonna note down the location of this cart. Just make like a mental note of it.
Okay.
Of where we
Again,
found it.
just a note as well, Asher, as you brush this ash off the dried meat, it does cling strangely, like to your scales. It sort of clings, and it almost gathers in the divots between your scales.
Shit.
This is mighty unpleasant.
We need to get you clean, Asher. As soon as we get to a uncontaminated water source. Because this, I don't like. Well, first of all, I don't like filth, but I mean, this is not. This does not seem like your garden variety Asher. Sorry for the pun.
I wonder if these could be washed. Speaking of water, is there any sort of sheet that I could, or sack that I could put these into?
There are a few sacks under the cart, but again, they also have ash kind of coating them.
Well, it's not like they don't have ash on it already. I'll start placing the meat into the sack.
Okay, you fill a sack of meat. If you want, you can add a sack of dried meat to your inventory.
I absolutely want to add that to my inventory, thank you.
So,
sack of dried meat.
Again, all the things you can see around you see these spilled crates of supplies, this cart which is now on its side after Skibion had lifted it up, these iron tools and mining gear, these very faint, odd circular patterns etched faintly into the ash near the wheels, like someone slowly turning in place. You now have this sealed box which Zerafina's carrying in her pack, weighed down by her other goods. And you see a single trail of human footprints leading away to the east into a small copse of trees.
I think with this, that we now seemingly getting our stuff back together to leave, Lucina is gonna just ask everybody, like, so what is the next step now? Are we going after the footprints to see if we find, I don't know, maybe a survivor of whatever happened here? Or do we set on to our original destination.
We should try to make sure they're okay.
I was gonna be afraid that you said that. Okay. Well then, I suppose lead the way.
Oh, you's got a kind heart there, Miss Serafina.
Thank you. The least I can do.
Yeah,
you know what
of
they-
course, of course.
You know what they say, kindness has killed the cat. Lucian is just gonna put his loot back on his back. He's not gonna take it off at this point because he feels like a little bit uneased being, setting off seemingly after the danger. And he's gonna be a bit more observant of his surroundings at this point.
So Skibion, Zerafina, and Lucian, you follow the footprints. Asher, you see the three of them beginning to follow these footprints. Are you going to go with them?
I'll go with them. Yes, and I think that Ash is going to see if, just before he does go, he's going to have a look at the prints again and just see if he can tell whether this was somebody running. What's the gait of the prints? Did they run away from the cart or did they back away from it?
Okay. Good question. You already made a perception check. Can you remind me what number that was? What you rolled for that?
The second perception check, that was 23.
Okay. Yeah, with the 23, you can tell that these footprints are walking, not running. They don't seem to be panicked. They are sort of walking at a steady pace away, and they are moving forward, yeah, not walking backwards. The rest of you follow the footprints towards the trees. They go for about 30 feet into the tree line, and then they just stop. They come to an end with just no sign of where they went after that. But at the very end, around the final footprint, you see a perfect ring of ash standing about an inch taller than the rest of the surrounding ash.
Zerafina's gonna try to inspect why there's a circle of taller ash there. She's gonna bend down and take a look at it.
Okay, roll a perception check.
Try to see what happened.
Okay. You see that this is an absolutely perfect circle, but you can't determine why there's a circle of ash there. It just seems strange and weird and unnatural to you. You would think that maybe something is messing with you. It's almost kind of a very intentional thing. And with a 19 as well, looking around, you also see a hollow in the most nearby tree, and there seems to be an item wrapped in cloth inside this tree hollow.
It seems very strange, like someone intentionally put this here. Maybe even to lure us in. And there's something in the tree over there, but I don't know if it's safe to go check.
At this point, I think Asher will have wandered over. Whoever it was seemed to have walked confidently away from the wreck.
Were these not scared?
Well, they didn't run.
Oh,
Lucian is gonna gently blow on the circle of raised ash to see if anything is underneath the ash.
Okay, so you're trying to blow the ash away.
Yes.
Okay. It doesn't move.
Yet. Well, best not to tamper with it. It might be an actual trap.
What do you think, a snare?
Likely, yes. Likely. We could set it off if we step back a few paces and maybe cast a stone at it.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just say Zerafian doesn't detect anything, so because the detect good and evil is up to 10 minutes.
Yeah, you don't detect, like, an evil presence coming from this. The overall atmosphere is just very unsettling and weird and strange, but you don't detect a specific sense of evil coming from this.
Okay.
Nor do you detect it from the whatever object it is hidden within this tree hollow.
Ski was hearing Asher and Lucian talking about like a trap or a snare, and he decides to, because it's in front of a tree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He decides to look up to see if maybe someone is hanging from the tree.
You look up into the tree. You see, again, these trees are not, you know, they have leaves on them. It's not like they're all dead trees or anything, but they are heavily laden with this ash, this kind of soot, this dull grey-white powder. Looking up into the tree, into the branches, you do not see anything hanging up there.
Ski would like to walk up to the tree, carefully avoiding the ring, because it's clearly caused some concern amongst his fellow adventurers. He walks around it, makes sure he's looking down to make sure his feet don't touch it, and then he looks up at the trunk and he just grabs it with one hand and just starts shaking it.
Okay, roll athletics.
Don't even say anything, just start shaking.
No.
20.
Dirty 20.
Okay, you grab the tree and you begin to shake it. With your great strength, you are able to actually shake it, and you almost hear like a slight cracking, like from deep within the trunk, as if it seems to be, you know, it's almost like you're damaging the interior of this tree as you're shaking it wildly, and some of the earth around the base of the tree sort of begins to break, as if you're almost tearing it up slightly from the roots. And quite a quantity of ash actually is shaken loose from the branches of the tree above you, and it swirls very slowly, and some of it settles on you. The rest of it almost hangs in a weird hazy cloud in the air. Other than that, nothing happens.
Okay. As he hears the sounds coming from the tree, he like immediately lets go. Slightly ashamed that he may have hurt the tree a little bit, and then he goes,
Sorry, Mr. Tree, probably tried a little too hard there.
and he notices the ash, and he starts patting his shoulders to like get the ash off.
Again, it sort of clings to your fingers as you brush it off, and clings to your clothes.
This is not a good feeling.
Well then, shall we try to set this off? Or do we avoid?
I was wondering if we should check to see what the item is in the tree. I don't sense anything evil coming from it.
Does this item look like it's wrapped up?
You can't tell what the item is because it is wrapped in cloth, but it's sort of lying there in the bottom of this hollow in this tree.
Okay. If you wouldn't mind stepping aside.
Everyone's just gonna step back.
Everybody is stepping aside.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my spear and I'm going to gently sort of pivot it into the hollow of the tree, and I'm going to try see if I can hook the cloth that it's wrapped in, lift out whatever it is.
Okay.
I don't want to touch it directly.
You hook the bundle of cloth at the end of your spear and you gently lift it up and out of the hollow. Nothing unnatural happens.
I'll set whatever it is down on the ground and I'll begin to unwrap.
Okay. You unwrapping the bundle of cloth, you find a bridle, a horse's bridle, and a whistle wrapped up in this cloth, as if they had been hidden there intentionally.
When we were back at the cart, did we notice any sort of prints from like horseshoes at all, or was it just humanoid footprints?
No, you didn't notice any other prints apart from the single set of boot prints.
Lift up the bridle. Give it a bit of a closer look. Is there any sort of writing on it at all, or anything that, or like a name for the horse or something? I'm not quite sure what the customs are in these lands for.
Yeah, there isn't anything written on the bridle. It seems to be a fairly well-made leather bridle that would be typically used for leading and directing a horse. You would imagine, I think, that this is probably the horse that would have pulled the wagon. That seems pretty obvious. But there's no real clues as to the identity of this horse or what happened to it from just this. And there is this whistle as well, which you believe would have been used by the driver to get the horse's attention.
I'll take the whistle and I'll toss it over to the bard.
Oh, I catch it. Do I catch it though?
You can do that? No, yeah, you do that.
Oh.
Yeah, you catch
Okay,
it.
okay.
You're fine. I'm not going to make you roll
Okay.
a dexterity saving throw for every little thing.
I don't know.
Lands
This
in the
is a-
snare, fucking sits up,
Oh, good
slings me up into
point.
the tree.
Good point, Hannibal.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think of that, but that's quite interesting. Should I, for this one, should I?
Yes.
I mean, I was
Yeah,
ready for it.
sure.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, all right. I was gonna just let you catch it, but I mean, Hannibal once again shooting himself in the foot.
I'm keeping it interesting. Come on.
Oh.
Okay, what we're gonna do is you roll a dex saving throw. If you get less
Okay.
than a 5, it's gonna land in the circle. If you get between a 5 and a
Oof.
10, it's just going to you're just gonna not catch it. And if you get 10 plus, you catch it.
Okay. Sounds perfect. Oh, that's a 17.
You catch the whistle.
Nice.
Very good.
I give it a light blow just to check that it's clear. I'm like,
Yeah, Lucian dies immediately from blowing the
That's
whistle.
it was a
Oh.
death whistle.
That's right. That's right.
Just kidding. It lets out a high, clear note, though it does sound a little
Ah.
bit muffled, strangely enough, in this area.
Okay. Well, he's just gonna put that in one of his pouches.
Add whistle, horse whistle, to
Add-
your inventory.
Add horse whistle. Say less.
Well, we didn't see no horse prints along the road or next to those human footprints.
No.
Maybe it was stored there by our footprinted friend here, perhaps.
Or, maybe, but where did his horse go?
That is a good question.
So whoever this
I'm s-
was had the forethought to hide a whistle in a bridle and leave some strange magical box behind.
I was wondering what must be so important about these items to hide these in the tree. Meanwhile, leaving the box and all the supplies out on the road.
Or not just hide them in the tree, but also just plumb disappear. There are no more footprints.
Yeah, where could they have gone from here without leaving a trail?
Well, they are definitely not in the tree. I'll make sure of that.
Are we standing away from the circle at this point? The little.
I think you would
ash-covered
be
circle.
standing nearby. It's a fairly small area. You know, you've got this tree with the hollow, which is probably about 7-8 feet away from this circle, and this circle is basically it's a boot print with this circle around it.
I think Lucian's just gonna pick up a nearby stone and just be like, well, you know, there's no point in dwelling around here, and he's just gonna throw a stone in the general direction of that circle.
Okay, so you throw a stone to disturb the circle?
Yes, I do indeed.
Okay, the stone hurls through the air and then it tumbles through this circle, breaking the outer edge of the circle. Lucian only. Everyone sees the following. Everyone sees the circle collapse. all of the ash collapses. Not like dust scattering, but kind of like almost like something exhales and scatters all of this dust away from the outside, from the inside out. Lucian, you perceive the air to grow colder, and the silence around you that you hadn't previously noticed, but now you notice. There's no bird song, no sound of leaves rustling or anything like that. This silence sharpens to you to total silence. You don't even hear the sounds of your companions with you for a second. The world feels thinner, as if something's just shifted its weight on the other side of a wall that you didn't even know existed. You feel a sense of pressure behind your eyes, as if something's watching you, and then this whole sensation fades away and you're brought back to reality.
Ski just looks at the rock landing on the ground and goes,
What's nothing?
What? What happened?
Good
Why did it
shot.
go quiet?
Are you all right there, Lucian? Rock just hit him in the
everything-
ground.
I was somewhere else for a second. What happened? Everything went quiet.
Oh,
Lucian's just gonna look around him like, what happened? What happened?
I mean, it just seems that the
Everything-
circle wasn't much of anything. It just dissipated.
Something happened. Something happened. Everything went way more quiet and colder, and it felt like, I don't know. I felt watched. I mean, I know you guys are here, but it felt way different.
Ski's starting to look like a little worried and just like looking at Lucian a bit, like kind of his head cocked a little bit, and like,
Nothing happened. You feeling all right there, Lucian?
I'm okay. It's just it felt weird for a second. Everything got colder, and it went way more quiet.
Ski's fatherly instincts kick in and just walk up to Lucian and just puts a giant back of his hand on Lucian's forehead. Walks away.
Oh, what was that? Were you like trying to check his temperature or something?
Yep. That's
Okay,
it.
make a medicine
Blocks
check.
the
Might as well.
the entire upper half of my body is just disappearing behind his head.
You got a 5.
Yeah, you can't tell what his temperature is like. However, when Skibion puts his hand to your forehead, you feel his hand, Lucian, and his hand feels, for a moment, it feels extremely hot. And I want you to roll... Hot. I want you to roll a wisdom saving throw.
Oh God!
Oh no.
What's happening to
Oh,
me?
no.
What is happening to me? Ooh, that's an 8.
You feel a sense of lightheadedness and disorientation come upon you. And looking behind Skibion, for a second, you see a pale figure standing in the trees at the edge of your perception.
God, I think with that, I think Ski touching his forehead with the back of his hand. He's gonna stumble back for a bit, and with the stumbling back, I can see past Skibion. And I see the pale figure there. I'm like, Ski, behind you! Look out! There's somebody there!
As quickly, but also a bit slower than the average reaction, Ski looks behind him and goes,
No, don't see no one's there. Are you sure you're all
There was
right,
somebody behind you.
Lucian?
There was somebody behind you.
Hey,
Somebody was
hey,
there.
Miss Seraphina's a bit over there, but
No,
not
way
really
paler.
behind me.
Way paler.
I'm worried about you, Lucian. Maybe you should.
Somebody was there.
Ski looks over at Zerafina and just kind of shrugs a little bit, but it also shows a bit of worry in his face. Like, oh, jeez.
Are you feeling okay, Lucian?
I mean, I feel with my hands, but there was somebody behind him. There was definitely somebody behind him.
Was it just mead you had last night?
I am not drunk, Asher.
You did drink a lot, Mr. Lucian.
Was it
I am
just
not
mead
drunk.
you had last night?
I just had the meat. I did not have anything else. You would have known, Asher, because I would have offered to you. There was somebody behind him. I am not going crazy. You are.
Asher's going to close his eyes and just focus on his surroundings, trying to open up his sense, see if he can hear anything.
Okay, roll perception, please.
Okay.
Ooh.
Classic.
What was that you just got there, Drimian?
That was
Classic.
a natural one.
That was a natural one. Yeah, you don't notice anything out of the ordinary.
Oh no.
You don't hear anything, actually. It's weird.
You don't hear anything. When he closed his eyes, he closed his ears too.
I think with all the confusion and the doubt from his friends, like Lucian is just gonna like, you know, fix his pack and stuff, and he's gonna like kind of just make his way back to the path. And I think he's gonna like not I won't say necessarily like shove past Skibion, but he's gonna like put his hand on Ski and just, you know, like just getting past him to go on the path.
Ooh.
But I do, to preface, I do put my hand on Ski as I walk past him.
Where? Which part?
Like on your forearm, because I mean, yeah,
okay.
you're a big guy. You're a big guy.
And my forearm is bare. I don't feel much because obviously
some
tiny
skin on
weakling,
skin
but-
action is what you're saying.
Well, it is Pride Month, so...
yeah.
He
Mm.
brushes his forearm and blushes.
It'd be wrong not
No.
to.
Yeah, that's right. He doesn't really feel much because obviously big guy versus small guy, but he does think it's a little weird that Lucian just tried to brush past him. Again, looks over at Zerafina with that worried and like just not knowing what just happened look.
She's gonna look back, kind of with a confused look. She's gonna watch Lucian kind of like walk off towards the path, and she's gonna like once more stare off to where he was pointing, saying that there was something, just like looking, kind of being like, I don't know, seeing if there was like maybe like around the tree at a different angle, but just still confused.
Did I get you to make a perception check already, Zerafina?
You didn't.
Okay, you can make another one now then.
Oof. A 10.
Okay, yeah, you don't see anything. I will say with a 10, you do notice this eerie silence. You do notice, you know, there's no bird song, which would be typical. Although I imagine you would just put it down to the fact that there's all this ash everywhere and it's not very sort of lively.
Yeah.
You don't notice a figure there, and also your detect evil and good is still active. The last 10 minutes. You also don't detect anything nearby.
Okay. Yeah, so she's just gonna stay confused.
Right. Lucian, heading back to the road, you start to feel a little bit more like yourself, a little bit better. Your perceptions around you sort of return mostly to normal. You still feel a weird sense of pressure, like a slight sense of otherworldliness, of not belonging, but it's much fainter. You have started to feel a little bit better than you did when you were in the woods.
I think he's just gonna peer over his shoulder to see if, he's gonna kind of like be paranoid, and he's gonna like look over his shoulder just to be like, is that thing following me?
Getting a little bit paranoid. Yeah, looking back over your shoulder, you just see the rest of the party a short ways away. The rest of you, are you going to head back and follow Lucian back to the path?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You return to the path. You see still this wagon there. Nothing's changed in this scene. The wagon is still on its side. The few items that you didn't take are still spilled around these tools and mining equipment. These boot prints and the faint sort of circular patterns in the ash.
We did tip the cart back. It's still not on its. It's not still on its side. Remember
Did you tip it back upside down?
No, Lucian and I tipped it right side up together.
Right, no, it was upside down and you tipped it up onto its side.
Oh, it was upside down.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Thank you. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
right.
tipped it on
that's
that side.
So yeah, you return to the road. The road continues on north and back south toward the Crossroads Rest as well. Do you want to continue along down the road and continue towards Greythorn?
Yes. I would say
Yeah.
Lucian is now just like a little bit more determined to get out of here.
Okay.
Ski is also not interested in whatever tools are left because they'd be too small for him anyway.
So, you leave the wagon behind, following the road as it bends north through a stony crag. The hills press close in to either side, and the ash deepens, muffling your steps. You see a few lone trees dotting the slope to either side, their branches heavy with this ash drooping down towards the road. I'm assuming you're in the same marching order as you were when you left the Crossroads Rest?
Yes, I'd still be in the front.
Asher in front. Okay, in that case, Asher, you are the first to see a flicker of movement up ahead, and the unnatural silence around you. Actually, because of your nat 1 perception, you don't from before, you don't actually notice the silence, but since you're up ahead, you do notice this flicker of movement first. A low growl rolls from the brush ahead of you. What's your first reaction?
Or hold up a hand gesturing for the others to stop. And with the other, I'm going to ready my spear.
Okay.
I think Lucian's still slightly paranoid. He's gonna take his loot from his back and he's gonna look and see where the direction the Dragonborn is looking in to see if he can see anything. Loot at the ready.
Zerafina?
Zerafina is remembering that Arid spoke of feral wolves. She's gonna also ready herself. She's probably gonna pull her mace from her pack.
I forgot she had a mace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just
She like
pulls
4'9" and she's got a mace.
Yeah.
Pulling out this fucking morning star, this just steel ball with spikes coming out of it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the witch
And
king's
her shield.
flail.
Yeah. Yeah, her mace and her shield.
She's got like a
Standing
simple
at the end.
iron mace and a shield. Okay.
Yeah.
And Ski Bjorn?
Ski takes out his great axe and grasps it with both hands
Okay. Ahead of you, Asher first, but everyone is alert and aware, and you're all looking ahead, thanks to Asher's warning. You see 3 wolves emerge from the brush. Their fur is patchy, and their breath comes out in wheezing clouds. There are 2 of a kind of normal size for wolves, and there's 1 much larger looking wolf.
It's a dire wolf.
One of the smaller ones in front snarls at you, but the sound is choked. Almost as if it's choking on something. Roll initiative. First combat of the game.
Yes!
And I will
Hey.
activate my very hastily drawn battle map.
Oh! Not at the
Oh,
wolves,
no.
but the map. Oh!
And you will roll initiative now. So remember to select your token and roll initiative. Oh, I did not mean to draw a circle there. And I will roll initiative for these wolves.
Ooh, 17 for me.
It's 11 for me.
Ooh,
21.
What?
Nice.
nice.
Okay.
Damn.
So one of the wolves goes first, and well, let me.
Which
And
one of them is bigger? Which one is it? Is this the bigger one who goes first?
no, it is the one on the left, the smaller one. The wolf to the left stalks forward towards you slowly. It lunges towards Asher, and it is going to try to bite you, Asher. It rolls a 23 to hit.
I'll do it.
The wolf clamps its jaws around your spear arm, dealing 8 points of piercing damage to you. Max roll on damage.
Okay.
It's now your turn. You've just been bitten. What do you do?
Worm's breath. Fuck it. And I'm just gonna get my. Gonna. Right, push it back with my spear. And I'm gonna go for a two-handed spear strike to begin with.
Okay,
2 seconds.
roll attack.
Sure that is equipped.
Yeah, just punch it in the throat.
Throat punch.
just a quick jab. Just.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it's an 18 to hit.
an 18 is a hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
That should be a 9.
Okay, so you jab your spear at the wolf, piercing its patchy hide, dealing 9 damage. It falls
And-
back slightly, looking
I'm
badly
going to
injured.
follow that up using the momentum of the spear strike to launch into a tail swipe with
Okay,
my own arm.
this is your monk ability to follow up with an unarmed strike when you use your action to attack, right?
That's right.
Holy shit!
What was that you rolled?
21. 21.
21 is a hit. Roll damage.
Whoa.
Minimum 4.
4 damage
Little-
is enough
little-
to kill it.
Hey!
So you spin and swipe it with your tail. The wolf collapses to the side.
I am looking pretty badly injured at this point, but I'm going to look back at the 3 of them and I'm going to. I don't want to see them suffer. They're animals.
Oh.
And despite being on pretty low hit points, I'm going to move up.
Just before you move, let me just
Yeah, please do.
describe something. So
Sure.
as this wolf collapses to the ground, a puff of ash explodes out from its body. And you need to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, oh no! Are we losing Asher already?
Hey, might be.
Don't say
Oh.
that.
Saving throw.
Oh, good.
18.
Okay, you managed to turn away and avoid breathing in this ash at the last second. And you are unaffected by whatever that was going to be.
I shall move, I think. Here.
Okay.
And that'll be it. That'll be my turn.
Thank you. All right. Skibion, it's your turn.
Ski is going to move forward to the left of Asher, and actually seeing as how he's looking a little beat up, he's actually going to step ahead of him. He's going to step to the right and then move ahead of him in like a defensive pose to make sure that nothing hurts his companion. And he's just gripping onto his great axe, and he's ready.
Okay, are you taking the ready action?
Yes.
What is the trigger, and what will you do if it's triggered?
Do I have to pick a specific wolf, or can I just say if a wolf approaches me, then I swipe?
Yeah, you can. That is fine as a trigger. Yeah.
Okay. Then yeah, the first wolf that approaches me, then I just take a swipe at them.
Okay, so you are going to make a great axe attack if a wolf
Yes.
steps within 5 feet of you.
Yep.
Cool. Lucian, you watch as Asher expertly dispatches the first wolf to attack, and Skibion moves in front of the now injured Dragonborn. What would you like to do? Currently, Zerafina is standing just in front of you.
Lucian is gonna sprint past Zerafina up to here. Seeing as he saw this puff of ash exploding out of the wolf, he doesn't want his friends to get close to them. And he is going to take his loot, mumble the incantation to himself, but very melodically, I guess. Is that a fucking word? I don't know. It is now.
Yeah.
Well, as a bard,
And
you
he's-
can definitely, you can recite or sing your incantations as part of your flavor.
Well, it's gonna be like a build-up, but you're gonna see like electricity emanating from his mouth going down into his arms, into his loot, and he is going to use Thunderwave to try and push these wolves back.
Okay. Make sure you post the spell in chat and let us know what and
Yeah.
read out what it does.
You unleash a wave of thunderous energy. Each creature in a 15-foot cube, originating, Jesus, I can't fucking speak, from you makes a Constitution saving throw. On a fail save, a creature takes 2d8 thunder damage and is pushed back 10 feet away from you. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to push them like away from
Okay.
everybody else. So I will probably just knock this one in front of me back then.
Okay. The wolf rolls a 6, which means that it fails the DC
Gonna get
13 Constitution
knocked
saving
back.
throw. Roll your 2d8 thunder damage.
Say less. Say less. Oh, that's a 14.
Wow.
The wolf is basically obliterated as it is flung, this 10 feet distance that the thunder wave pushes it back, basically flings it into the wall of the gully here, and it pretty much just explodes into
Yes.
an explosion of ash that just puffs around it in a 5-foot
God.
radius. Thankfully, you are not close enough for this to even affect you. And the wolf it's just gone. It is gone. I delete it.
Yeah, that's
Nice. It's like
put it-
the
put it in a
loot is
pile of
turned
ash.
into an electric guitar. It's like, welcome to the jungle. It's just fucking gone.
awesome.
But yeah, that is my movement, my action for this turn.
With
I
that,
am
the
done.
final wolf snarls at you, and where you would normally think that it would probably flee, given pack tactics of wolves. It doesn't, which seems unnatural to you. This wolf stalks towards Lucian as he is currently in front, and it moves fairly slowly. Its fur is patchy. Lucian, as it steps closer to you, you also notice that this wolf has... its eyes are like rimmed with red. The eye is kind of red and looks sickly.
No.
And wrong. And it also appears to be somewhat malnourished looking, but it is larger than these other two wolves, and it is going to stalk towards you, and it's going to attempt to bite you.
First word out of Lucian's mouth upon seeing this is just, oh shit.
It rolls a 22 to hit.
It barely hits. It barely hits. Barely, just barely.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna X to doubt on the barely there, but
I like how. Why is it always that the DM is like, oh, that's a 36 to hit. Does it hit? Oh fucking no! You see my character sheet. You tell me.
because
pal.
it's part of the game. It's part of.
Oh, that's actually 120 to hit. Does it hit? Maybe.
I didn't ask you if it hits. I just waited for you.
Yeah.
You take 6 piercing damage as it bites you.
No, it doesn't.
I think it might.
The roll.
I think it might, Lucian.
Almost takes my fucking arm off, depending where it bit me.
It follows up with a multi-attack,
Ah, for fucks.
which is a 14 to hit.
That actually does barely hit, but it does hit.
It does also hit.
Yeah.
5 piercing damage. The wolf just closes its jaws around your arm, and it shakes its head, sort of like tearing at your flesh.
Lucian falls lifeless to the ground.
Was that enough to make you go unconscious?
Yes.
6 damage. Oh, Jesus.
Lucian's down. I think that was 11 damage total.
11
Oh, it
damage
was
in
11.
total.
I thought I saw 6.
Yeah. No.
Zerafina, you watch as Asher quickly dispatches one to the left, and the Goliath moves up in front of him to defend him. Following that, Lucian sends out a wave of power, of force towards one of the remaining smaller wolves, blasting it into a cloud of ash. And then the remaining wolf, the larger one, stalks towards him, clamps its jaws around him, shakes hard, and he falls to the ground, appearing to have been quickly knocked unconscious. What does the high elf do?
Okay. I'm assuming it let go after he fell, right?
It's currently still got its jaws clamped around him, but it's looking up towards you.
Oh my god, okay. So, considering that, hold on. She is going to run up upon seeing Lucian collapse. And she's going to, but since obviously the danger still poses a threat, since it's still got its jaws clamped on him.
Yep.
She's gonna move up to here, and she's gonna use Healing Word. Oh, actually, you know what? No. And she's gonna keep moving forward. We move to here. She's gonna use Healing Word first.
Okay. Make sure you post the healing word in
Yeah.
the Foundry chat, and then read out what it does, and let us know what it looks like as you cast this spell.
So it says a creature of your choice that you can see within range regains hit points equal to 2d4 plus your spell casting ability modifier. And that's just about higher level spell slot. So what's gonna look like is she is going to. It's basically gonna look like a prayer. So she's gonna like put her hands together, and close her eyes, and she's gonna say, "Alarian, please heal this poor soul." And then there's just gonna be probably like a.
Down on my knees, I'm gonna take it.
And then and there's probably gonna be like a faint silver glow encompassing Lucian after she says this.
Okay, roll
Okay.
2d4 plus your spellcasting ability modifier.
Oh, Suji, come on.
I tried.
Oh my.
Roll back.
Snake eyes. She rolls double one.
She's God was not listening.
Well, God is listening.
And
That will
It
bring
just
you
didn't
back
care.
up. I mean, even 1 point of healing
Yeah.
will bring you back up, so you are roused
Yeah.
from unconsciousness, Lucian. You won't get to do
I'm
anything.
aroused?
But, no.
Are you
Delphina, is
aroused?
there
Oh.
anything else you would like to do on your turn?
Yes, so since that was a bonus action, she's going to move further up, and she's gonna take a swing at the wolf with her mace.
Okay. Bonk. Bad dog.
Yeah, basically.
Stop.
Bink,
Stop.
Okay, Norm. There we go.
Awesome.
Oh, that's a 5.
A 5 is not going to cut it. You swing your mace towards the wolf, but unfortunately, due to the angle that it's at, grabbing onto Lucian, you're unable to get a good hit on it, and it sort of ducks away from your mace.
That'll be my turn.
Okay. Asher, it's your turn now.
Oh, with Ski in front of me, and just gonna say, can't see a damn thing.
For a reason, want you again for hurt no further.
I'm gonna stab my spear into the ground, leave it where it is, and I'm gonna dart around, come into the side against the wall. I'm gonna use an unarmed strike. I'm gonna go straight in for a punch.
Okay.
Woo!
Okay, that is a 24 to hit.
24 is going to hit, yes.
Okay, let's roll the damage. That's 4 damage, but what I'm going to do as part of that is I'm going to use my Tavern Feet.
Okay.
Let me just grab that quickly.
So you've got a feat called Tavern Brawler.
I do.
Yeah, tell us
yes.
what it does.
Oh.
Can I just post it in chat?
It's there now.
Right, okay. So, where am I looking? Yeah, push. So when I hit a creature with an unarmed strike as part of my attack action on my turn, I can deal damage to the target and push it 5 feet away from me. I can benefit from that only once per turn. So I'm going to punch it in the mouth, and I'm going to try and send it reeling 5 feet back. Getting it
Okay.
off the bar.
Okay, so you make your normal damage roll, and
Yep.
it pushes it back as
So
well.
yes, that's right.
Right, and you
so I
did that
want
as part of the 4 damage attack that you just did, yeah?
That's correct.
Okay. You strike it with your fist, and the wolf goes hurtling back 5 feet away from the sort of, I assume that Lucian is now crouching, having regained consciousness. He's got to push himself up from prone, but away from Lucian and the high elf, Zerafina, as well.
And despite being close to bleeding out, Asher is going to lunge forward another 5 feet,
Okay.
and he's going to go for a kick.
Follow-up kick,
Fine.
roll attack.
Actually, how much movement have I used at this point?
You've currently used 20 feet of movement.
That's a fail. I'm feeling a little bit lightheaded.
It's a nat 1. Yeah, you follow up. You try to follow up with a kick, but you sort of lose your balance at the last second. Something about this ash in the air is making you feel a little bit lightheaded and off balance. Skibiorn, you see this all unfold ahead of you. It looks like Lucian is no longer in immediate danger. What would you like to do?
I run 15 feet ahead and then turn to the left to face the wolf and attack it with my great axe.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, make a great axe attack.
And as I'm running, I kind of trying to make it a bit more theatrical. So I just I'm running and I try to bring the axe down onto the wolf.
Okay. You're trying to be theatrical.
Yes.
Oh,
I want to strike fear.
I want to strike fear into his heart.
22 to hit.
A 22 is a hit. Roll damage.
Let's see. What's that?
get him,
Oh, I see.
Get him.
I used the wrong one. Damage. Normal. An 8.
You swing your great axe down from above, dealing 8 damage to this wolf. It seems less affected than the 2 smaller wolves, and is still standing, but you have dealt a considerable blow to it.
Right. Cool. Yeah, I think that's all I can do.
All right.
Okay.
Lucian, it's up to you. Your companions have come in to defend you, and they are currently fending off this large wolf ahead of you. You see Zerafina beside you as well with her shield and her mace upheld. What would you like to do?
Lucian is gonna step back, kind of like stumbling to his feet, step back a little bit, and he's gonna be like, that was just a scratch, you fiendish furry foe. And he is gonna use vicious mockery on the wolf.
Okay. With a little bit of alliteration.
He's gonna point at the wolf. Okay, let me read the spell first. You unleash a string of insults laced with subtle enchantments at one creature you can see or hear within range. The target must succeed a wisdom saving throw or take 1d6 psychic damage and have disadvantage on the next attack roll it makes before the end of its turn. So, with that being said, Lucian is gonna stumble to his feet, kind of seemingly run away, and he's gonna turn around, he's gonna point at the wolf, and he's gonna say, "Your father was a hamster and your mother smelt of elderberries."
The wolf seems strangely not insulted by that. It rolls a 16 on its wisdom saving throw. Nothing happens.
Nothing happens, of course, nothing happens. Oh, well.
When you said strangely, I was like, well, it seems strangely affected by your English, your common insult.
It's it almost understood what I said.
For some reason, calling a wolf's father smelling of elderberries didn't do anything. But yes, is that all you would like to do?
Yes, that is all I can do.
Right, the wolf is going to retaliate to the most recent attacker, who is Skibiorn. It is going to attempt to bite you, Skibiorn. Nat 1 for the first attack. Misses. Multi-attack.
Oh.
A natural 2, which is increased to a 6, which I assume is going to miss your AC.
Yes.
So it snaps and snarls towards the Goliath, but you manage to draw your arm back in time not to be harmed by this.
It was affected by my words.
I was just gonna. So I was gonna say as Ski dodges it without really trying. He looks over at Lucian and gives him a quick wink. As in, to say, thank you. Right on, good job.
I mean, yeah, to the Goliath, this probably still just looks like a little puppy, you know? Like, oh, it's
Yeah.
cute.
Let me pet that dog there.
Can I pet
I
that
want
dog?
more. I want
Pet
that,
that
dog.
And with that, Zerafina, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
Well, seeing as, well, now that Lucian's up and stable, remembering that, well, also seeing that Asher's still looking worse for wear, she's just going to place her hands on, like, his shoulder, I guess I would say. And she's going to do Healing Hands.
Okay, you cast Healing Hands. Let us know what that does as well and how it looks.
As a magic action, you touch a creature and roll a number of d4s equal to your proficiency bonus. The creature regains a number of hit points equal to the total rolled. Once you use this trait, you can't use it until you finish a long rest. So, she's going to place her hands on him. And interestingly, the glow that comes from her hands and goes onto Asher, is actually gold this time instead of silver.
Okay.
Interesting. Do we notice this?
I think you can freely notice this as you like. I think it's much more obvious than when her eyes
Okay.
are closed.
Eyes. Okay.
So that's for a total of 4.
All right, Asher, you regain 4 hit points as the high elf places her hand on your side.
Okay.
And that's it for her turn.
Cool. All right. Next. Asher, you feel this healing warmth spread through your flank as the high elf heals you. What would you like to do? Currently, the wolf is focusing its attention on Ski.
I'm feeling a little bit emboldened by that sudden surge of healing magic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kneel to the ground. I'm going to take some of the ash in my hand. And like chalk, I'm going to rub it on my hands to get a bit of grip.
Okay, it feels very cold in the palms of your hands as you spread it around in your palms.
I'm going to make an unarmed strike, but I'm going to do a grapple.
Okay. Let us know how that works and what you're doing.
So, find out. So I'm going to use grapple and shove. Right, so I get to choose, because it's a monk thing, I get to make it I get to determine the difficulty class with dexterity. I like. So I'm going to try this, see if it works. Okay. So the difficulty class for the grapple is a 15.
And it has to make a dex saving throw or a strength saving throw. Which one is it?
I believe it.
You had
it's
picked
dexterity.
dex. Yeah, I was gonna say.
All right. So DC 15, rolling now. It rolls a 20, non-natural, but you're unable to grip hold of it as it sort of writhes and squirms away from your control.
Okay. I'm going to attempt the same thing again.
Okay, fair enough. So you're gonna use your unarmed strike to make another
Another attempt at a grapple. Yeah. $13 this time around.
Okay. That is a 12. You successfully grapple the creature. Let us know how that
Ooh.
looks and what you do.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move behind the wolf and dust the ash over my hands, lean in, grab it, and pull it back, exposing its chest to our barbarian. While it's grappled, I believe the melee attacks against it have advantage.
Okay, all right. It
Oh, yeah,
squirms
'cause
and
it's
writhes in your
restrained.
grasp, and it's trying to escape, but you've got your arms like wrapped tightly around its neck, and you're like holding it back.
Got this wolf at head, like the wolf's paws are like, yeah.
And immediately following that, it is in fact Skibion's turn. So
Come on, Ski.
Oh dear.
Grab his dick and twist it.
Gross. Okay, so I'm gonna try to swing my great axe at the wolf. Do a vertical swing, trying to not hit Asher.
all right, attack with
Roll to the
advantage.
Advantage. 17.
17 hits. Roll damage.
Whew. 14.
How do you want to kill it and end this encounter, Skibion?
I'm doing again a horizontal strike across its exposed chest.
Right, your axe bites deep, and the wolf, this one, again, most of its body collapses into Asher's grip, but there is a large burst of ash that bursts forth from the wound that you deal into the front of it. Since Asher and Skibion are both within 5 feet, you both need to make a dexterity saving, a constitution saving throw.
Get.
Oof. I rolled an 11.
Okay, Asher, again, you are unaffected. Skibion, you are going to be affected by this as you inhale some of this ash. Roll a follow-up d4 to determine what the effect is.
2.
Okay. With a 2, some of this ash gets into your eyes, and you are going to be blinded for the next minute. So how do you react to that, Skibion?
Or me eyes. Quickly. Someone hold me hand.
Seraphina's gonna run over and be like, Ski, are you okay? And she's gonna like look at him,
Can't
see what's going on.
marm.
You can't
Just-
see?
My eyes, they're burning.
The ash
like
got in
his-
your eyes?
A little bit.
He's like holding out one hand, but rubbing his eyes with the other hand. He just wants someone to hold his hand to like ground him.
Well, yeah, Seraphina's gonna hold his hand.
Oh, thank you kindly, marm. Or
Lucien is also just gonna go down onto his knees. He's like, oh, well done, guys. Well done. You did good. You did good.
I thought you was a gunner there, Jun.
Still rubbing his eyes.
For a minute there, I was. I'm still just clenching to my arm that got almost ripped off.
Just looking at it like,
It's my good lute playing arm. Oh.
What is your current status, everyone? Like, are any of you injured still?
Yeah. Lucien is still
A fair bit injured,
doing a little bit better, but
bloodied.
he's
I think I'm just blinded
arm is in
for
pain.
a minute.
And Asher, did you say that you were going to do something with one of the wolf carcasses, or did you just let it go?
I just dropped it in front of me because I'm still holding on to it.
Okay.
While Ski is rubbing his eyes,
Asher, don't forget your spear back there. Or
Right, you are. I'll take the spear up again. That
Is
hurt like a
everyone feeling-
bitch.
what
I-
was that, Miss Seraphina?
I was just wondering if everyone was at least good enough to walk. Unfortunately, I don't have any more energy or power left within me to help anymore. I'm gonna need to rest first.
I don't have spell slots, guys.
I'm feeling weak.
I'm weak.
Seraphina doing
I need to-
some fantastic role playing to describe a mechanical feature, and Lucian immediately ruining it.
I need to
Oh.
spend some time meditating to Alarian again to retune myself to heal.
Once I can see, I'll be here to help anyone who's not feeling up to walking too much.
I can benefit from like maybe just taking a breather for an hour or so.
After hearing Lucian say that, Ski finally rubs his eyes for the last time and goes, and like he can finally see, and he goes,
Come here, Lucian.
just kind of hooks him and puts him on his shoulders like a backpack.
Oh shit!
As you're doing that, Asher is going to reach into his pack. He's going to pick out looks like a small sort of leather bundle. He's going to unfurl it. You can see that could be daggers or filleting knives, and he's going to approach the large wolf, and he's going to insert the blade and drag it up. Have a look at the inside of that thing.
Oh god.
Okay, as you're doing that, roll a nature or medicine check, your choice.
That's a 14 medicine.
Okay, with a 14 medicine check, you, leaning close, you can see that these wolves, or this wolf, was definitely sick due to something. You see these red-rimmed eyes, and as you slice your knife through the front of this wolf, just large quantities of ash, kind of slightly mixed with blood, and like congealed blood, spills forth from within the body of this wolf onto the ground.
Poor thing.
Or what's wrong with them?
There's nothing in their guts but dust and ash.
That's not right. Or beasts.
I'll take out a... I imagine my hand's rather bloodied at that. Try cleaning my knives. Setting them back aside.
Ski takes out a water skin, takes a swig, looks over at Lucian on his head peering over his shoulders, and waves the water skin at him. But it's a bigger water skin, so
The water sack.
it's a water sack. Yes, that's right.
Lucian's, you thirsty?
I'm good, big man. I am good, thank you. I think we just need to take a little bit of a rest.
Ski takes one little sip and then corks the
From
water
his
skin
river
back.
bag.
River bag. Oh, jeez.
It's almost as if the ash is almost taking control of the wolves. If they're just filled with it.
Probably best for us not to stay here for too long, though. Shall we make our way?
Yeah, because we do need to rest, but I don't think it's wise to rest amongst the ash.
Oh, probably not for the best.
These creatures weren't acting naturally either. I don't think it's like wolves to attack if they're outnumbered. There are only 3 of them. And I'll gesture towards Ski. He's about the size of 2 of us. It's rather ambitious for them to take us on. If the fauna are like that, to wait around.
Definitely not. There might be more lurking close by. We should probably move.
In that case, I take it that you continue up the trail. What's your marching order this time? Are you going to change it or just keep it the same?
I think
Am I
Lucian
still
will
holding
hang around towards the back.
I've got you. I'm
Oh,
carrying you like a
I'm
like a
on your
backpack.
back. Oh
That's
my
right.
god, okay. Well, I'm
Ski's
on
got-
Ski.
Okay, so Asher up in front.
Aye.
I'm gonna walk behind Asher.
Skibion just behind with Lucian on his back. And
And
Zerafina.
Seraphina is going to be walking beside Ski.
Okay, to the side. All right. You continue along up the road, The afternoon wears on. It was about early afternoon when you had been investigating the wagon, and about mid-afternoon as you were attacked by the wolves. The afternoon wears on into evening, and the sun begins to dip below the crest of the sort of hills to the west. It begins to get darker now as you enter the foothills of the Veiled Mountains up ahead. And the land gets craggier still as you wend your way upwards through this narrow trail heading up into the sort of like highlands of the mountains. It is getting dark now, and it looks like you don't see any sign of the village ahead just yet. Do you want to press on through the night, or do you want to make camp for the night?
Well, it is getting rather dark, and I don't think we should be traveling at night. What do we think?
You're probably right, Lucian.
I say we press on.
Yes.
Should we press on?
I say we press on.
Nor. We don't want wolves to attack us while it's dark.
But I mean, yeah, Asher has a point. If we stay here, we do, potentially
Or
become
is it-
prey.
I suppose it. We anything could happen out here. Or I'm willing to keep walking.
Yeah, only if we find a generally safe-looking area to rest should we rest. Otherwise, we may need to press on to not get caught while we're resting.
If you find a cave or a shelter, that's another thing. But I don't think that we should rest outside exposed to this gesture at the ash, which is just everywhere at this point. We saw what it did to the wolves. I don't want any
That's a
more of
fair
that in
point.
my lungs than necessary.
Well, let us proceed then. Carry me, big boy.
Sure, come on then, Lucian.
So you continue up the road. Are you going to keep an eye out for somewhere safe, quote unquote safe, to
Yeah.
camp? As you
Yeah,
go along?
Zeraphim is definitely going to be keeping an eye out for any type of shelter.
Okay, anyone who
Likewise.
is keeping an eye out for that, go ahead and roll perception.
14.
17.
Okay. You continue up through the crags and kind of stony canyons and ridges that lead up into the mountains. You don't come across any more wolves immediately, but the sun dips fully below the horizon and it is now dark, so any of you that don't have dark vision, you can't see. Unless you light a torch or anything. So, do you all have dark vision? Or are there any, or do you choose to light a torch or anything else? I will also say that as you continue along, Asher, you do note that where you're walking through these crags, some of the crags and cliffs to either side like overhang the road slightly, and you think that underneath one of these would probably be a relatively safe place to camp, because you would only need to keep an eye on two directions, which are the north and south roads, that directions of the road, and you wouldn't probably anticipate danger coming from the overhang or the cliff above or ahead on the other side of the road. So you do think that probably underneath one of these overhangs would be a relatively safe place to camp. So which of you don't have dark vision? Who can see?
Where do you see that? I'm trying to find that.
Under attributes, it's going to be below
attributes at the
your...
bottom.
Yeah. Under
Senses.
senses.
Then I was gonna say I don't see senses, so yeah, I don't have dark vision.
In fact, you don't see shit.
God, am I the only one who doesn't have dark vision?
Okay.
Damn.
Zeraphina has dark vision of 60 feet.
Okay. And of course, the half drow has dark vision. And so
Oh, yes,
Dragonborn
up
in
to
5.5
120.
he have 5.5e have dark vision.
Yes, up
Oh.
to 60.
Wow.
Okay. They didn't have it in
Interesting.
5e, so that's
They
good.
I was
didn't.
gonna say.
You got
All right,
blinded
so
earlier,
as-
now you're blind from the dark.
As darkness falls, Asher, Lucian, and Zerafina, you can still see, though, you can tell that it's dark, but you can still pick out, shapes and everything. You just can't pick out color. Although
Yeah.
this is less relevant as everything around you is covered in ash, so it's all the colors are pretty much gone anyway.
Yeah.
But Skibion, it gets harder and harder for you to see as
Mhm.
you continue north up the trail.
Lucian's, I'm gonna have to put you down so I can take out a torch.
Oh yeah, that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. I can walk from here, big boy. I'm more accustomed to this. I feel more comfortable now.
So he.
Lucian seems to
Puts
be a
him-
little
puts
bit
him
more
down.
soothed by the darkness
Oh, there you go.
because he's a little edge lord. No, yeah. I mean, he's
So
He's a half-elf
Steve puts him down
drow, you know.
gently. Of course, of
He's-
course. He was
he's
born. He was
accustomed to
born
the
in the
dark.
darkness.
I was born in the darkness, molded by it.
And
I'll lead the party into that sheltered place that I've located.
Ski takes out a torch and lights it. He's carrying it in his left hand.
You light your torch, Skibion. You can now see I believe it's 20 foot of bright light and 40 feet of dim light. So 20 feet beyond the 20 feet of bright light, you can then see another
Yep.
20 feet of dim light. So yeah, you
Mhm.
can. The light from your torch flickers against these craggy stone walls to either side of the road, casting large shadows on them of your silhouettes as you continue along. And again, everything is covered in this ash and muted. There's muted sounds around you. You can't hear much. And Asher leads you beneath a stone overhang, which slightly overhangs over the road. It looks like a relatively safe place to rest, but it is your choice whether you want to decide to stay here or continue on.
I think Lucian will just, be like, I feel a little bit better now that, it's a bit darker now. So I'm perfectly fine to travel if everybody else wants to.
It's up to you. This place is relatively easy to do. If you want to rest, just say the word.
What about you,
Maybe.
Serafina?
It may be best for us to rest, just to recuperate after everything with the wolves.
And how about you, big man?
Or I'm game for whatever you do.
Well, in that case, Lucian is just gonna sit.
So you're deciding to rest.
Yeah, Lucian is just gonna sit down, try to recuperate a little bit.
Right, so how many hours do each of you need to rest? So I believe Zerafina and Lucian, you only need to rest for 4 hours because you have your elven trance. Is that true? Or am I
Yes.
misremembering the rules?
Mhm.
Whereas
No,
Skibion
that's
and
not-
Asher both need the full 8 hours long rest.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you are going to choose to rest for the night. Do you want to light a campfire or do what kind of preparations do you do to rest for the night?
Do you want to rest in the
sure.
light, or do you want to have a temporary reprieve and carry on?
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh.
I don't know if we're gonna stay here for the night. We're probably just gonna
Right.
take a short rest
So just an hour's
just-
short
I know.
rest?
Yeah.
just to recuperate.
That's enough for me.
Oh, okay. I was
Do
gonna
you-
say Zerafina can do just 4 hours, but we could just do the 1 hour. Yeah.
Yeah, your options are essentially you all take a short rest, which lasts an hour. You all take a long rest, which is going to last 8 hours because it's limited by the longest rest in the party, which Asher and Ski need a full 8 hours.
Yeah.
Or you
Full 8
take a
hours.
4-hour short rest, in which case Lucian and Zerafina get everything back, but Skibion and Asher, you don't benefit from a long rest. You just get a short rest.
That's all I would need.
Up to you.
Yeah.
I think we'll do the 4 hours
The
then.
Those say
4 hour,
the 4 hours
yeah.
is fine by me because I don't need to to recoup anything.
Yeah.
How
Okay, we'll
long?
do
How
the
long does
4
the
hours then.
torch last?
How long does it? I think it would last for an hour.
Okay. So we'll have to build a fire.
We'll get a campfire going for
Um,
Skibion.
Or morph to get some firewood. Would somebody like to come and help me?
Very well.
Oh, thank you
Can't have you
kindly,
groping around
Asher.
in the dark.
Well, I appreciate it, Asher. Thank you kindly.
So Asher and Skibion are going to head off together to collect some firewood. Serafina and Lucian, you stay behind. Is there anything you'd like to say or do while you're staying there?
Zeraphina's probably just gonna immediately just kneel down and start to go into her trance. Probably, can she see the stars, or is just all the ash falling covering?
Yeah, you can't see the stars from where you are. Like, the ash is strange, right? It doesn't seem to fall so much as it kind of hangs in the air and around you, almost like spores or like motes of dust. Like, imagine in a dusty room when you see the light coming through and you can see the dust kind of hanging in the air. It's kind of like that. But it is thick enough that looking up into the sky, you can't see the stars or the moon up above.
So she's probably just gonna look up as if she, but keep her eyes closed, just kind of imagining, where the stars and the moon should be, and just go into her trance.
Okay. You just rolled something here.
We just roll something.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Perception check
Okay.
failed.
Yeah, you enter your trance. Lucian, anything you'd like to do?
Lucian is just gonna put his back down and he's gonna kind of like lean on his back, resting his arm that almost got torn off. And yeah, I think he's gonna kind of stay alert until the other two return.
All right. Skibion and
keeping an
Asher,
eye
can
out.
you please make a combined survival check to see how successful you are in your endeavor?
Do we survive?
they do not come back alive.
That's a 14.
Woof.
Oh,
Okay.
Great.
So with an 18 combined, Asher, you kind of assist Skibion in looking for some bits of wood and twigs that would be serviceable for making a small campfire. You are successful. An 18 combined will allow you to collect enough wood to make a small fire. You return back to the overhang where you see Zerafina sitting down, kneeling down. She seems to have entered her trance already. Her eyes are closed. She's sitting quite still, and Lucian is there as well.
Let's start building a campfire in front of them.
Okay, you
Not
managed to
in front of
build
them, near them.
You managed to build a small fire nearby, just underneath this overhang. A little bit of smoke kind of rising into the sky, and by the light of this campfire, you can see still this ash hanging in the air like motes of dust. But the warmth of the fire reaches you. You do feel a bit of warmth sort of seep into your bones, which manages to break through the coldness of this ash where it's currently resting in your hair and on your clothes and on your skin and scales.
I love
Being
how you
a-
included skin and scales. That's awesome.
Being a white dragonborn, is it like a comfortable coldness, or is it an uncomfortable coldness? Is it like a natural cold or a natural cold?
I'll say, so you would be obviously used to the feel of snow like melting on your scales or like landing on you, and just the feeling of snow from the northern lands that you come from. It is not comfortable. It is not like that. It feels weird. It feels wrong. It doesn't melt, which is something that you would obviously be used to. And the cold of this ash isn't really touched by the fire. So while your body warms up somewhat in the warmth of this fire, whenever you feel a new flake of this ash land on you, it's still just as cold as previously.
Yes, I think that a bath is called for when we arrive. Something to get this out of my scales.
The waters around here are probably full of ash. Won't be getting a bath for a while, as I think.
Maybe
You
if we
got
can
his
find the
boys,
source
right?
of a stream or something.
Or, well, let's hope. Could go for a bath myself.
Yeah, maybe you could ask your gods a favour.
I could try, but that's why I'm out here. I'm out here trying. Gods have been listening. Goddess haven't been listening to us lately.
Maybe you're right.
You pass. If there's unless there's anything else you'd like to say to each other, the three of you who are currently not in a trance, I will tell you what happens in the through the next 4 hours, of the night.
I'm gonna
Oh,
keep
yeah.
because I got a natural 20 on seeing our high elf friend's glowing eyes. I'm gonna keep an eye on that elf
Okay.
throughout the duration.
Yeah, Zerafina, you are free to tell him if there's anything he notices, if there's anything unique about your trance that he would notice if he's keeping an eye on you. That's up to you. You can also decide that you're just sitting there still and nothing's visible. Up to you.
You might see a thin glimmer of silver light coming between my eyelids while I'm in my trance, with flecks of gold in it.
Very nice. Okay. Remember to click on the short rest or long rest button on your character sheet to get all your stuff back. Lucian and Zerafina, you can both get a long rest, and Skibion and Asher, you only get a short rest.
And I
Is it
still
a
have
new
to use
day
it.
after 4 hours?
No,
Oh, sorry.
I don't
No.
think so.
What was the question?
Is it new
If we
day?
should have new day checked off on the long
yeah,
rest.
it's not going to be a new day, so the end of the rest is going to be kind of in the middle of the night, probably around 2 to 3 a.m. However, during the next 4 hours, a few things do happen, a few things that you notice. Nothing, from the roll that I did, it's nothing dangerous, but some weird stuff happens. First of all, the ones of you that are awake for most of this time, you hear a distant guttural howling. Guttural howling in the distance that sounds kind of choked, just like the wolf that you encountered earlier. Like a sort of cracked sound, which is in the distance. The second howl comes as well that sounds a little bit closer. Nothing attacks you, but you can tell that something is pacing around out there.
Tell how far, or maybe perhaps how many?
To those of you who are listening, go with a perception check, and depending on how good it is, I'll tell you if you know how far away it is.
22.
All right.
14.
Asher with a 22, you think that it's probably at least a mile or so out.
Should be fine as long as we get moving soon.
Were they close?
I don't think so. But I wouldn't wait around.
Well, at least there's some distance between us.
There is, but I imagine we're about the only things that don't smell of this stuff for a long way out. We'll want to move soon.
Hopefully Lucian's and Miss Zerafina will be ready soon.
Zerafina, in your trance, you feel the presence of the being that you spoke to in the sanctuary of your temple where you come from, your elven glade. You feel this presence kind of warming you from within, this glimmer of warmth within you, and you can feel that it's like holding this ashen coldness at bay. Lucian, in your trance, you kind of dream a vision of empty doorways, and you feel as if you're being watched. You also hear a whispering voice saying, "Lucian."
Oh, fuck off, I'm sleeping.
Skibion, at one point throughout the night, about 3 hours in, you see something crawl into view from the edge of the firelight, which is a hare, and it appears to be half dead. It crawls towards the firelight, eyes red, and it's breathing shallow. How do you react?
I nudge Asher.
There's a wee bunny coming towards us. It don't look right.
I'm not putting that in the pot.
Think that.
I mean, seeing as how it's not hurting Ski or any of his companions, and remembering the puff of ash that affected his eyes earlier, he just decides to leave it alone for now. But he
You
commits it
watch.
to memory that even the smaller rodents are affected just like the wolves were. It seems.
How far off is it?
It
It's
moves within about
within.
10 feet
Yeah.
of the campfire,
Yeah.
and
Well,
it's
I
moving
assumed
past.
it was. Yeah. Oh, it moves past. Okay, so it comes in and moves on.
Yes.
Gesture with my eyes towards my spear. I could, if you wanted, put it out of its miseries.
Or I was thinking about that ash that done hit my eyes, or it was dangerous. But if you wants to, you'd be my guest.
With those two out for the count, probably not the best idea.
Yes. Ooh, who knows what might happen if we do it in.
All right. The
Yes,
hare limps past, and it sort of pathetically like limps away from the fire. And as you're watching, it limps about 30 feet away from the campfire at the edge of the light, and then it just disappears.
I wonder if the wolves would prey on it, or whether they'd avoid it.
I don't knowers anymore. Feels like the laws of nature don't apply here.
Well, it didn't smell so appetizing to me.
It did not look very appetizing from me eyes either. I suppose meat's not on the menu tonight.
Didn't I make that joke in session 1 as well?
It's not back on the menu. It's not back on the
I
menu.
saw you
It's
roll
not.
your eyes.
Well, I do have some rations.
Dried meat is just as good as no, or is better than no meat, I suppose.
I don't
And,
think I want to take them out, though. Not outside.
Or-
Not with all of this ash floating about. I think I'd rather.
Are we hungry yet, Kajol? Like, do we feel?
The last
It's
time you
been-
ate, you had some. You would have had some. I think you paid for rations in the morning at the tavern.
Yeah.
So you haven't eaten
It's-
for the rest of the day. I guess you had a large.
Yeah.
I believe Skibion, you had 2 buckets of porridge.
Yeah.
Um,
And
in
there's
the
been
morning.
a whole like 18 hours since we ate, I guess. Yeah, we'd be.
I
we'd be
would probably
hungry.
say, you could have, usually you're not going to be describing the minutiae of every single meal that you eat. So the assumption would be that per day of travel, you use one
Okay.
rations per
Okay.
day of travel. It's up to you if you want to describe yourself eating a little bit now, but I would assume that your characters aren't stupid, right? Like, you wouldn't just
Yeah.
travel for 18 hours without eating anything. You might have taken some rations out on the journey and eaten while
Right.
walking.
Okay, well then, yeah.
Yeah.
After mentioning the dried meat, Ski opens his pack, looks through his rations, rips off a piece of jerky or something, and just starts chewing slowly. Halfway through the jerky, he pulls out his river skin.
So make sure you remove a
Like-
rations from your pack, each of you.
Yeah.
And I think with that said, we will pass the quote-unquote night. We'll pass the 4 hours. Lucian and Zerafina, you enter your trances, you see and you feel the sensations that I've described to you, this warmth from within Zerafina that seems to hold this weird unnatural feeling at bay. Lucian, you have this weird vision of empty doorways, something watching you and something whispering your name. 4 hours pass and you awaken from your trances. Skibion and Asher, you have a nap, you rest for about an hour, and then you spend the rest of the 3 hours, you have some rations, you talk a little bit, you see and hear these strange goings on in nature around you. And then the 2 elven characters awaken from their trance.
Or good morning, lovelies.
Good morning.
I think Lucian will basically his name whispered to him, and his eyes would just like snap open. And he's like, "Is everything okay? Did we miss anything?"
Or it was a nasty-looking rabbit that approached our wildfire, but he done and walled off.
Yeah.
Nothing to
Should
report.
probably get a move on.
Maybe some more of the
Agreed.
wolves in the distance. But other than that,
It's probably best that we keep moving then.
agreed.
And Serafina, on contrast, would have opened her eyes very like calmly, gently, looking very refreshed and relieved. And then she's just gonna quickly have just a piece of bread. That's gonna be her rations after she wakes up.
Lambless bread.
Yeah.
Limber spread.
Yeah.
Okay, you have like a little bit of bread and some water, I assume, as you awaken.
Yeah.
All right, so you ready your packs and get back on the road. It is the middle of the night, so it is very dark. Skibjorn, you have to light
Oh,
another
yep,
torch
I
because
do.
your
Yep,
first
I do
torch
that.
has died. So make sure
Mhm.
you remove the quantity of the torch that you've used up.
Yep,
they
I
only have
already
a certain
removed
amount of
one,
fuel.
but I'll remove a second.
Each of you also remember to remove a ration if you haven't
Yep.
done so already. So you continue north through the crags until the road finally crests a low ridge. At around, I would say that the sun is beginning to come up when you finally reach it. So you're walking through the night for about 4 or 5 hours through the night until the sun begins to come up. The road crests a low ridge, and then you see ahead of you, slumped in a hollow between the hills, and at the foot of this large, dark grey mountain, right here, you see the village of Greythorn. And what you see is a completely ash-smothered village. It coats the rooftops and the window ledges. It gathers in drifts along the ditches, dulls the colours of the fences and stones and the trees and all the plants and grass around into the same lifeless grey. The air is still and is thick with these hanging motes of ash that catch the light but never seem to fall to the ground. To your right, as you enter, you see a small field that lies abandoned, with furrows half dug, tools left where they fell. Beyond that, you see houses crouching under the weight of ash, shutters drawn, doors closed. No voices greet you as you head down the slope towards the village. No dogs bark at you. But behind the windows, the glass windows of the houses, and crooked-looking curtains that border them, you can see a few eyes suspiciously watching as you enter. Asher, as you're ahead, you see a flicker of a face pulling away from a window. Another door cracks open just enough for someone to peer out and then closes again. It seems like some people in the village have noticed you arrive. And as they see you, pale from the road, pale in skin and hair, most of you, and scales, and your cloaks and clothes dusted with white, with the streaks of this ash. Some of these faces that you see recoil away, and others of them stare at you. Coming from the ash, you consider that you might look less like travelers, and more like something risen from it. And that is where we're going to end our session for today, because we are coming up to the end,
No.
and you've just arrived at Greythorn, which is perfect timing, because next time we'll be able to actually delve into this village that you've just arrived at. So thanks very much for playing, guys. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for
Thanks
having
for
That
having
us.
was awesome.
Pleasure.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you, and thanks everyone for watching as well. Thank you very much. And thanks for
Yeah.
all the follows. It's crazy. I hit 420 followers just now.